Devil in a red dress. Call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang, bang, got my hand on the trigger. The devil
Hello, Trabant.
Hello, Tito.
What are we going to watch today? I see a flower here, some people, and I see the characteristic blues of the Chinese police uniform.
Well, what if I told you that in China it's prohibited to wear old Chinese traditional clothes?
Really? Prohibited by whom?
Apparently by the Chinese law.
What the hell? Let me guess. The Chinese police didn't like that. What was going on?
No, not a bit.
All right. Well, let's have a look.
Okay.
对，类似于拍照的啊，可能是一些。
拍照
如果你穿汉服来，我绝对不会这样说。
Now he's angry at her.
No.
What is he saying? I wouldn't treat you as if you were wearing hanfu, the Chinese clothes. Oh, so she's wearing a kimono. Yeah, she's wearing a Japanese kimono. Maybe this offended someone who was there.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's see. You can see that
Okay.
there is a. I guess this is this the security guard, the Baoan? Let's see.
但是你是和服
I don't think so, no.
作为一个中国人来说，你是中国人，你是中国人，
Chinese. Now he's
You
getting
actually-
angry with her.
可以。
Ah.
那现在啊，如果你不配合，
那有什么理由呢？
涉嫌寻衅滋事，好吧？
就能穿一个衣服。
好吧，那你们跟我们回去吧，好吧？带着吧。
That was the reason why he took her in.
你干啥？
That escalated quickly.
That escalated quickly. We can see somebody watching this, so maybe this is maybe it hasn't been shared that much on Chinese media. I don't know.
Not at all. It was on the Chinese media.
But we can, yeah. I mean, the police were, obviously, the lady asked him, what is, what are his reasons for yelling at her, right? Because she said,
So this
why are
girl-
you yelling at me?
This young girl is walking in Suzhou on the streets full of Japanese restaurants, and apparently she is just recording a video that she wants to share to on social media.
She was doing a vlog or some cosplay or something. Anyway, who cares what she was wearing?
Something like she's wearing like 100 years old traditional Chinese costume, which by the way, this is like very common for Chinese tourists going to Japan and just wear this costume in the streets of Japan. And so she's doing it in China, in Suzhou.
Oh, wait, she's wearing a Japanese kimono in Suzhou, yeah?
Yeah, kimono.
Okay, but where was she doing this?
On the streets, outside in the open, on the streets. There are lots of Japanese restaurants around.
Then that's that's even to be expected, I would say.
Kind of. Even if you go inside, if the policeman were inside one of the restaurants, probably would find lots of women like this.
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah. So, and maybe there was a woman before that started this quarrel with her.
Oh,
And
okay.
then yeah, I'm not 100% sure. And then the policeman involved.
I just don't get
And
what the police was trying to get her to do. If you do not cooperate, 不配合. But what was she supposed to do? Like get out of there? I mean, I don't get it.
Either he would tell everybody to calm down and just look around, look where we are. There are Chinese restaurants on the right side, on the left side, everywhere you go. Or he could just tell her, listen, just go home and change your clothes.
Maybe he did. Maybe she didn't want to do that because why should she? Because the irony is if there are, I don't know if there were Japanese restaurants there, but it doesn't matter. I mean, you can have a Japanese restaurant, but you can't, wear Japanese clothes. I mean, where's the logic,
What's the logic?
right?
What's the logic? We hate. Did you forget, girl, that we hate Japanese so much?
She must have forgotten. You bad Chinese.
Yeah, haven't you watched TV for like
Okay.
longer than 1 week?
Maybe the policeman was trying to get her out of there, but now he was trying to get frustrated. I mean, if he was a little more sensible, he would have de-escalated the situation, right? Or he would have, at least, if there was another woman, shouting at her or doing something to her, then he might have talked to the other woman as well. You know, kind of
Hey,
remind.
are you Chinese? Are you Chinese? Well, stating the obvious, which is like, what's the point of it?
But the point
Are
is,
you
are you a good
Chinese?
Chinese? You should not behave like this. So
If
it seems like the policeman was trying to follow the path of least resistance for him.
you are wearing a kimono, you are Chinese. You should be wearing hanfu.
Right.
If I were the girl, I would ask him, "Are you Chinese? You are driving a Japanese car. You are eating Japanese food. You go
Yeah,
to eat in
yeah. I
Japanese
mean, where do you
restaurant.
draw the
You,
line?
yeah, you purchase Japanese goods on Taobao. Are you Chinese? It's exactly the same.
The point is, you can't draw the line, but it is always um, dangerous if and I'm not saying this was the case, but imagine, for example, you have someone who's a nationalist, and you give him a police uniform, right? Now they have the authority, to impose their views on everybody else. Normally the police, should be the one to mediate some conflicts.
Yeah, usually they do. But in this
Of
case, she
course.
was an easy target.
And
He
yeah,
knew
kind of,
he knew
in a
he wouldn't
way.
get punished. The policeman knew he wouldn't get punished for protecting China because China is so weak, China is so fragile that you can undermine its security by wearing a 300 years old costume.
Or China. Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a case when a security guard called the police on me because I wanted to take pictures from a building. I must have been a spy or something on China's on a holiday on China's National Day. What are you doing? So obviously the police was normal. When they came there, they looked at him in a very quizzical way, as in, why are you bothering us about this crap? And but yeah, maybe the security guard thought, maybe this is a spy, right? And this brings us to the topic that I wanted to talk about, and that is the fact that the Chinese espionage law has been amended. In fact, if you look at some comics from the past, you can see here someone who is, kind of drawn differently. Seems like this is a foreigner, right? That's the impression I get from the strip.
Yeah, definitely.
Talking with a girl. We see this is Xiao Li. And then we can see somebody came to see her, right? And Xiao Li is very surprised. She says, Zamala? What happened? You can see her cup fell out of her hand. And this is actually not the police, not the Public Security Bureau. This is the 国家安全局, the National Security Bureau. So, this is for anti-state crimes.
Oh, it's FBI. Huh?
This is more. This is like state security. This is perhaps closer to the one of the intelligence communities in the United States. Right? And then they interrogate her. They have her here in handcuffs, and she's saying, "I didn't know he was a spy. I've been used by him."
Well, I'm missing the tiger chair in this picture.
Yes, yeah, maybe they were nice to her. Yeah,
She should be definitely sitting in tiger chair.
they
two
didn't want to
policemen-
scare everybody, I guess, in the comic.
So what do you think would happen to her?
This is in the subway. Well, I wonder what would happen according to the newly revised anti-espionage law. Here we can see 中华人民共和国的 PRC 反间谍法. So anti-espionage law, anti-spying law. And it's I don't exactly know what the recent amendments are. I think we're going to see a bilingual version soon. But it's kind of scary when totalitarian government amends these kinds of laws.
It is because it's probably the foreigners will be targeted.
And this can be used to target foreign companies or even domestic companies that work with foreign companies and with foreigners. We've already seen some U.S. companies, for example, having their offices raided, some people detained. So this kind of a pattern re-emerges every now and then, fortunately, when the Chinese government is trying to put some pressure on some companies. So with this kind of a revision, I'm afraid, it's going to give the government give the police forces a more convenient instrument to use, because it's supposed to be relatively vague, so there's a lot of room for what you can do on the part of the authorities.
Vague. It's always vague, so it can be interpreted as you like.
So yeah, I'm not looking forward to this. So
It's kind of
hopefully
counterproductive. I mean, China wants more investment. China wants more foreigners, more foreign investors coming here, and they implement this kind of vague or just threatening law for just as a retaliation to maybe some American law for no reason. If they want to arrest somebody in China, they can put you to prison for 15 months without pressing any charges. And after,
obviously, this is in extreme cases, but they have ways. They can do some things with you.
So why do they try to look so legal all of a sudden? Like, we have this law. You heard about the law?
Because China is a country with the rule of law. That must be why.
Oh, yes.
I mean, easier to have it written on paper, all the scope of what you can and cannot do. No, obviously I'm joking. Yeah. China is very arbitrary when it comes to following law, So I'm hoping, this is not going to target a lot of people, but you never know.
So
there must be some reason why they're amending it now.
This legislation, apparently, according to the news, provides more legal basis for the raids and investigations of foreign firms that have already been happening.
So they want to have a convenient tool or a better tool to use against foreign companies if they need to put some pressure on them. But obviously this is unfair. What kind of an investment environment does this create? Who's going to want to come to China when you're not sure what you're going to be investigated for on this wide scale of things that you could have committed?
Right.
No, I mean, I'm just hoping that this is not going to be followed up too much, but unfortunately, it might be. We'll just have to wait and see. Right. What has happened very recently and this is I don't know if this is related, but there is some terrible news coming out of Hong Kong.
Uh-huh.
What Hong Kong has government has done was placed a bounty of 1 million Hong Kong dollars, which is about the equivalent of 1 million Chinese yuan, on the heads of former, not former, but democracy activists that used to reside in Hong Kong and have since fled Hong Kong to predominantly to places that aren't going to extradite them to Hong Kong or to China.
So apparently these bounties were placed on 8 people. All of them already emigrated. They live abroad, Australia, the US, and the UK. And they selected eight people for their very serious crimes, right? And these people are like activists, ex-legislators, unionists, and so seems like they just handpicked 8 people out of many, and to threaten other people of basically suppress them from talking and from further activism or just writing some articles online on their social media. So this is just like threatening the others that we will come after you, and we have a law now. One is a lawyer, unionists, 3 ex-legislators. So it's like a symbolic list.
Maybe,
But
maybe.
yeah. So these people live abroad. So what it means is that they must be very careful to travel to any country that have extradition law with China, like
Yeah.
like definitely not Thailand or Egypt or Saudi Arabia.
Well, I mean, you know, I don't know how realistic the Hong Kong government can be to get these people to come back to face some kind of a political trial. I mean, sounds ridiculous, but maybe that is what they are trying to accomplish. Think of the political points for some Hong Kong politicians that they would get from Beijing. Wow, look at what we've done. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they are just trying to get them to be quiet, because I'm worried they might put some pressure on their friends or family. Oh wait,
Yeah, they're trying
they
to
already have. Just
so quick.
you know, a day or two, a day or two later, apparently, I think up to 5 people have been arrested for allegedly helping this or aiding dissidents abroad. Right? We don't know who has been arrested exactly, but here we can see a picture of Ivan Lam being led into custody.
Yeah, I see. It reminds me, like in 1997, when Hong Kong was handed over, right, to China, there was on the premises that this that the affairs that Hong Kong still manage its own affairs based on one country, 2 systems, right? And they promised for 50 years this high degree autonomy. They promised for 50 years high degree of autonomy. So this autonomy should last at least until 2047. I remember when Deng Xiaoping was asked, like, what will happen after 50 years, you know? And Deng Xiaoping was like, well, If it's working, everything is fine, we'll probably extend this autonomy for other 50 years. What a
But
bunch of
you have
bullshit.
to obviously, yeah, it seems like that now, but you have to remember that he might have been speaking even honestly from the perspective from the optics of those times when China was still relatively poor, much poorer than now, and Hong
25 years
Kong
later.
was
25 years
much
later.
richer in comparison. In fact,
Yeah.
the Chinese government was trying to stop people from running into Hong Kong, and maybe
Yeah.
to try to get Hong Kong businesses to invest in China to kind of
Mm.
spread the wealth back. So while Hong Kong, let's say, was serving this purpose, you know, the Chinese government was happy, to not care about what was going on there politically. But now that unfortunately Hong Kong is not quite that important to the government in Beijing, they feel more confident. We can impose more of our rules on Hong Kong um, as we like.
Yeah, yeah, they did. In 2014, they introduced this extradition law that sparked the umbrella movement.
That means people could be people from. Actually, this was a little more complicated because it also involved Taiwanese citizens. But they basically they wanted. The point is that this has been used as an event for China to try to exert more power over Hong Kong,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
this has because we see this culminating with the national security law being
Hmm.
adopted in Hong Kong. There was a
2020.
revision, yes, in 2020. There was a revision of the national security law in China in 2015. And, so I guess somebody got the bright idea. Well, let's try to revise the Hong Kong one too. I like the wording here, that says preserve one country, two systems.
Uh-huh. So
Restore
this law,
stability. Wow.
this 2020 new national security law, the details of the law was kept secret. Nobody knew what the law was about
Then why the
until
heck were they
it was
making
passed.
posters about it?
Until it was passed. Then they said, okay, and now let us tell you what this law that just got passed is about. So
Wow.
all the acts, all the criminal acts of this law are like secession, trying to break away from the country, subversion, if you undermine the power of authority, basically if you criticize the CCP, you are a criminal. Then terrorism, that's kind of obvious, and collusion with foreign or external forces. Very vague what it means. Very, very vague. It means anything, right? Just like wearing a kimono, right? Well, you're wearing kimono, you must be working with the Japanese, I guess. Uh, mhm.
No, I mean
Unbelievable.
this. It's laws like these that give the government more power to, to detain people, and
Yeah, more
kind of
power, make it look,
take power away from the people. To be honest.
yeah, make it look less clandestine, more legal. Like, we have the law, you know about this law, right?
But just because you have a law that says you can't do something doesn't mean that this is something moral. I mean, this is how a lot of Chinese people look at it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Doesn't matter how you name it. It's still
We can
immoral.
see that, yeah, that people are not very happy. You can see it crossed out. So, this sparked, a large protests, that were at their height, 2019, up to 2020.
Mm.
And unfortunately, it did very little to change the actual situation. The law was passed, and
Yeah.
now we can see that they're going after the people that might have tried to
Yeah.
stop it from being passed.
Right. Right. When this Chinese and Hong Kong national security law was passed, China's Premier Li Keqiang said, uh, this law was designed for the steady implementation of one country, two systems. The opposite what it was. I,
Absolutely, yeah.
I
But they have to stick to the script. They have
Yeah,
to stick to
listen,
the dogma.
guarantees Hong Kong its autonomy and freedoms, and for Hong Kong, it's long-term prosperity and stability. Exactly the opposite.
Yeah, I'm sure it
Exactly.
does. Yeah, yeah. Stability, but at what cost?
Stability, prosperity, freedom, and implementation of one country, two systems. Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly the opposite. Uh,
I don't know what people were thinking when the UK was handing Hong Kong back to the PRC, the People's Republic of China, because the UK, they kind of carved it out for themselves to have a base in southern China, and they signed a lease, or they forced a lease on the Qing Dynasty in 1898 for 99 years. So in 1997 it was supposed to return to China, which by then was
mhm,
represented by the PRC. But
mhm.
yeah, I mean, nobody, I guess, was predicting that things are going to deteriorate that fast.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
things have gone downhill way before 2049.
Yeah, who could foresee something like this? The
Yeah, who
Chinese
knew?
Communist Party made a promise, so it's like
And they
written in the
didn't keep
stone.
they didn't keep it. Oh man,
What promise they ever kept?
it's,
Nothing.
it's a good question.
No promise ever being kept. Ever. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
One of the youngest girls that the bounty was placed on, her name is Anna Kwok, and
So
they used her old
yeah,
ID
you see,
picture.
she's very young. Okay.
Yeah, no, she's like 26 now, but in the ID, she was just 18. Yeah. How weak China is when these people are threatening its security and sovereignty and I don't know what. That's just a weak country.
By writing something online. Well, as you mentioned,
Just
maybe
writing online.
this is supposed to warn other people in Hong Kong. Don't
Um,
do this or else.
yeah. Yeah. Don't write anything online. Not anymore.
So I don't know the exact reasons why Hong Kong has done something so drastic, whether this is related to international relations and international politics. Um, but yeah, it's uh, it's unfortunate, what we're seeing.
Hmm.
On the one side, yeah, maybe China is trying to play. No, I don't want to say play by international rules, but at least trying to look like, yes, we are trying to get back into the following what other countries are following, and then you see economically, and then you see this, which
Yeah. China has a long tradition. It's kind of like a culture of
I
ratting
don't think
out.
this is incidental. You know, they want to they want. I think they wanted to publish this news at this point.
Hmm. Yeah, probably they did. Yes, maybe. Yeah, who can say? Like during the Cultural Revolution, there were like cases when uh, people were ratting out their relatives, right?
Yeah.
Uh, there's like Boshilai, we talk about him. He was the big rival of Xi Jinping. He ratted out
Yes, he
his
was.
own father,
Really?
his own father. And
I
when
didn't
they
know
came for
that.
his father, they said Boshilai kicked his father in the ribs and broke some bones.
So you can imagine the kind of character of this person.
If you can do something like to your father, like
Wow.
why wouldn't you do it to strangers?
Yeah. Yeah. And when you
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, but he was very successful in the party. Apparently, when he was working in Dalian, he got so much money there. Yeah, maybe maybe by making up some of the figures, saying, "Oh, I need a little more.
Uh-huh.
Give
Uh-huh.
me something."
Yeah. There was a guy called Liu Xiaoqi. He was the state president, second only to Mao Zedong.
Yeah.
And he was reported by his own daughter, Liu Tai.
Oh, I forget about that
So
too.
this is like a long culture of ratting out anybody. And this is what it's about. Why would they place bounty on these people? They are hoping
No,
that they must be hoping that it will work. Or maybe they are testing something new. But these people from
maybe.
now on they are always watched. And as soon as they set their foot out of Australia or UK or America, there will be somebody who will report on them. So they are hoping, they are testing something, how it's going to work. Let's see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe. I mean, when you
maybe.
mention when you mention the Cultural Revolution, this is a clear example, of giving power or letting people who shouldn't have power to be able to impose their will on others. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine giving power to the Red Guards,
Oh yeah.
and then expecting them to behave.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, let's see. I mean,
Right.
I'm hoping that this will, that this will eventually die down. But as we've seen, people have already been detained
Mm-hmm.
because of the, I guess, in relation to this, because this happened, in clear succession. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
think this is a coincidence. What I'm worried, in fact, is that we'll see, something else come out related to this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Every
mean,
month
every
something
month,
comes.
yeah, something surprising. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think anybody was expecting something like this.
No.
Yeah.
No. Right now, China should be focusing on just restarting its economy, not just bringing more attention to its problems.
Yes. Yes.
Cannot they just give it a break? At least like for 6 months. Come on, guys, just keep it down, dial it down a little bit. You know, just put your chips down. Don't play any more of these stupid games because it's backfiring and it's always backfires. Always, sooner or later.
It does.
It's not working. Not working.
I mean, what has been in the news more was the BRICS meeting that is supposed to happen this summer, I think, and um, there was talk about some of the members trying to enact a new currency, but in fact, this news has been demented. It has not been confirmed by people from the BRICS Bank. So, maybe this is something that some countries would like to implement in the future, but they cannot do right now. Obviously, maybe China would like to, be an alternative to the US dollar, but this is impossible at
What kind of
this
common
point in
currency?
time.
Countries, 5 countries, they have basically nothing in common except kind of like leaning towards, I don't know, some dictatorial regime. How can they create common currency? It's not European Union.
This is I don't know.
It's
So,
something like a new euro or something.
I don't know. I don't think they have any specific ideas.
Right.
This is not something that is actually on the table.
Yeah, it's not real. It's not real. Look at this beautiful picture of Mao Zedong in his, I guess, like 40s.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's on every Chinese banknote now, from
Every
1 yuan
single.
to 100.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have
Yes.
smaller banknotes, but nobody uses them anymore. And I mean, you had other kinds of banknotes before, but now Chairman Mao has made it to each and every one of the larger ones. Can you imagine, for example, I don't know who this is on the Russian ruble, whether this is Peter the Great or whoever it might be. Can you imagine Stalin still be on the 5,000 ruble banknote? Yeah.
Or Hitler on like a German mark.
Yeah.
Or on euro. Hitler on euro.
Yeah. Why not? Why settle just for the mark? Yes, unbelievable. Can you imagine? I mean, this is going a little bit too far down the history lane, but some people from the British East India Company on the Indian banknotes, or some people from the former apartheid regime on the South African rand, or some Portuguese conquistadors on the Brazil real.
Yeah.
So, yeah, now this is a long way to go. So we've seen that, economically, China is maybe trying to, work with other countries, or at least trying to show that they would like to do that a little more. But politically, it seems like they are making things worse. Maybe to put some pressure on other countries. Yeah, work with us or else. I don't know how to read this, but we'll see further down the line what this is going to lead to. Because we don't know the consequences at this time. Yeah. But then you end up with situations like a girl being basically harassed, for wearing something completely arbitrary, right?
Yes.
You can go to a Japanese restaurant, but you can't wear a kimono next to one. Okay, wow. So
Makes no sense.
makes no sense. Well, what have we learned today? I really don't know. To be honest.
Well, you learned there are lots of laws in China, very vague laws that nobody knows exactly
What they're going to be
if it
used for.
concerns you or not. You are just told on the spot that
Yeah.
your case falls under this law.
So let's. I really hope this is not going to have a large impact. But again, we don't know. I don't think anyone knows now what this is
Okay,
going to end up. Yes.
Let me end this podcast with what Hu Xijin said
Oh yeah,
about arresting
our
this
favorite commentator.
yeah, about arresting this girl, right, wearing kimono. He said her actions were not illegal, and people should be able to dress freely. But there were sensitivities.
Yeah,
So let me say about
what sensitivities? You know, she wasn't going to the Yasukuni Shrine in Japan. Yeah.
so let me apply this wisdom of Hu Xijin to all the Chinese laws. The actions of the Hong Kongers in exile are not illegal, and people should be able to say whatever they want. But there are some sensitivities. That's it. That's it, I guess.
What a sensitive topic.
Yes.
All right, well let's finish here, and I'm very curious. You know what the next few weeks are going to bring. What we will see after the visit of Janet Yellen is concluded, and you know what we'll see for the rest of the year.
Okay.
So well, let's stay hopeful, and I'll see you next time.
Okay. See you next time, Tito. Thank
All
you.
right, take care, Trabant. See you. Bye.
Yeah. Take care. Bye.